Ah, such sweet agony, to not know things which we desire deeply to be privy of. The Big Bang. What happens after you die? Extraterrestrial life. All these questions and more will not in any way be answered here. But I got another guest, and we're going to have a conversation about them and life and what have you. So, welcome, mystery guest.
Thank you.
So, I don't know if it's going to be entirely evident to the audience, but this is going to be the first mask-on interview on the Joe Van Seeker podcast. And is that because Halloween is fast approaching? Not quite. It's because we're doing it in person. So we're inside of a wide open facility, but we're still inside. So my guest and I are wearing masks, and we're just going to conduct the interview that way. And so we'll do our best to be as pronounced as possible, but otherwise, what are you going to do, you know? Everybody knows the world that we live in now, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, so I'll jump into the first most obvious question. When it's a little earlier in the day, it makes less sense, but how has your day been so far?
Day has been wonderful because it's the start of the day, and that's the best part of my day is the morning, where I get to spend a little time with myself, and then everybody gets few part of my routine.
Slowly take your attention
and all the demands start building it up. So first day, morning is my best.
Nice. And so I guess you'd call yourself a morning person, or?
Morning person, yes, I would.
Nice.
I would call a morning person, and I need to dedicate more time.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Do you drink coffee, or are you just a natural riser?
No, just the water.
Yeah,
just the water.
Kidding.
As soon as I drink it, wake up, it's water, right?
Yeah. Nice. Well, you're healthier than me, but it's just one of those things. I don't know. I'm just the opposite. I wish I was a morning person. My girlfriend's a morning person, but I don't have it in me. I wake up at if I wake up at 10, I'm a happy person, which is awful because the day's half gone, right? But it's just one of those things.
But you're happy, so at the end of the day, that's what matters.
I guess.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm not hurting anybody by waking up late, so I guess it's okay not being a morning person. But yeah, so now we'll kind of get into the bulk of the interview, which is always something that I'm excited whenever I get specialists, because I haven't gotten that many before. But I'll just ask the simple question: what is it that you do for work?
Okay, I beat people till they get better.
Nice. So you work in the casino, yeah, right? You deal with people who count cards. Yeah.
So in a nicer way, I'm a physiotherapist, and I help patients overcoming their injuries, recovering from the surgeries, their pain, and reaching towards their health goal. So that's my main thing is I educate people, teach them exercise, do exercise with them, and help them recovering best of their ability, what they can do it from yesterday to today.
Yeah, nice. And is it okay if we take a dive back into time and sort of go through the process of how you came to be a physiotherapist? And was there a moment in your childhood when you were like, this is what I want to be, or what was the path for you to come here?
Initially, it was not as affirmative that I wanted to be a physiotherapist. Initially, there was two options, either physio or dental, and I decided that I need a little more than just the mouth area, so I decided that I'm going in physio route. But during my physio career, in my school, I had a really bad back pain. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, first year of my school, I was playing a lot of cricket, and as a university kid, right, you're not thinking a lot. You're just playing, enjoying it. So I had a really bad back pain, and I just developed a really good sense of motion and exercise and fixed it, that I'm in a good career. So that's how it started everything, that I got really interested in physiotherapy and healing patients with form of exercise.
Yeah, nice. And that's probably something that a lot of people have generally felt whenever they get into situations where they get a sore back or an actual sports injury. They probably think it'd be great if I could just fix myself, right? Because that's something that most people just don't deal with. And it's something that I've had an issue with, where it's this weird warped sense of pride where you're I don't want to ask for help, so I'll just hope that my body heals it or something, or you'll try to Google it and do it yourself, you know? But obviously the difference with you is that you actually had the means. You were in school, and you were working in health, and so you went down that path. Yeah, nice.
I was in a right environment. So I was guided by teachers, and all the seniors, they were ahead of me. And eventually I was able to kind of understand what went into the process of my rehab, and then later on put it into my clinical practice. But as you mentioned it, everybody tries to fix themselves first. So my goal is to give education to the people where they know understand better about their body, and they can do minor tips and tricks to get back to the shape.
Yeah. And this may or may not be a good segue, but my older brother, without giving too much information about him, because the whole theme is that it's a secret podcast, but he went to university for kinesiology and then later developed into whatever classes you have to take to get into being a paramedic. And so I was hoping to ask you, through this wash of ignorance I have over my own head of where I don't know anything, what's the difference between kinesiology? Like, is it an introductory course into physiotherapy, or is that just something that branches out, and isn't that related to physiotherapy?
It is very related to the physiotherapy. It is the foundation of physiotherapy, where you learn the basics, anatomy, all the motion, why it is so important. And then you become, if you decided that you want to go towards the exercise healing science, then you go towards the physiotherapy and learn more in depth. That's why you do the masters at university level. So kinesiology is at the heart of physiotherapy. You can branch out to different profession as well from kinesiology, paramedics. You can go to different healthcare professions as well. So it works as a really good foundations. Actually, I would advocate that kinesiology should be taught in schools as well, because nowadays,
like high schools,
high school levels.
Yeah.
We should be aware about our body and motion.
Yeah.
That's what we are, and we are reading a lot of history books. We are reading a lot of other books, right? That may or may not be used up, but you're using your body every day the moment you're lived.
It's a guarantee.
So it's a guarantee that you need to invest in your health. If you understand about your motion, your body, you'll be better educated to take decision on your health.
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring that up, because I hadn't thought of that, but when me and my friends were complaining in school about all this dumb stuff that we have to take that doesn't make any sense, one of the things that we thought of is everybody has to pay taxes. Why isn't there a class that teaches you how taxes work, or just basic money accumulation or prevention or something, right? Instead it's like specialized to business class. That's like an elective that you don't have to take. And then so it's interesting where it's like everybody has to pay taxes if you're a citizen. So why aren't we taught that in school? And another one is everybody has a body. So why are we not taught the basics of kinesiology? Yeah.
I haven't seen a person who hasn't complained about their body that, oh, my back hurts, or my neck does this, or I'm a wired letter different. Everybody has things. So why don't we understand the body beginning in the school?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the basics of parents teach all of their kids to brush their teeth.
Yes.
So even if it's not widely understood why we do that, we know that we have to do that because it's healthy. The same would go for something like just knowing the basics of how to stretch or how the body moves. Just the basics, you know? It's like it could be like a one class in grade 9, because that's the thing that we have for French in our schools is like you don't have to take it after that, but in grade 9 you have to take French for at least one semester. Just to know how to say bonjour, I guess. I don't know.
And that opens up the huge possibilities of combining a greatest mind that are in the school. Eventually, down the road, they will become engineers, they will become doctors, surgeons, they will become architect. But if they have a good foundation of the body and how the body motion, everything works, they will apply in all different directions. That can build a society which is really fundamentally important for humans. Instead of just a different concept that we made this building that is like looks nice, but is that really sustainable for humans and the eco-society?
How can we best help the most people? It's not going to be with architecture or a specialized class. It's going to be with something very baseline like kinesiology. And so I don't know if this relates too much, but I've noticed as I've gotten older that you hear more reports of car crashes and of just like attacks of random like just crazed people on the streets in the summertime, and and I've just come to understand it as something where it's clearly because they're dehydrated or something, right? And they just don't have a basic understanding of what a heat stroke is, or people get so much more aggressive, like whether it's on the road or just on the streets and stuff, and it's like that seems like such an avoidable thing because it's like literally just drink water and you'll probably be fine, but like For some reason, people just don't. It's not intuitive enough. It's not like an instinct that humans have. And then the same would go for stretching. Someone has a sore back. Instead of dealing with it, they're just now on edge and constantly angry, and they just take it out at everyone else around them. And it's just, it's unfortunate how we'll find a way to work around an issue to keep it, even though the issue is what's causing us the suffering, both mentally and physically. And so it's strange how much it's needed, but how few people know about it. Because the same goes with something like shoes. People will try to spend the least amount of money on shoes, but then now they'll have a sore back because their shoes are crap and there's no proper bedding, right? It's like it's the same with like a bed or something. It's like these are the foundations of what keep us most comfortable, and we're just like dancing around it like as if it's not important.
Get the best deals.
They try to get the best deal, or you try to just not work on it the most.
Don't pay attention on it. It's a good observation that those things we discuss it, water is important or exercise is important, but they're discussed just 1 or 2 times. That's it. Let's take the example of current pandemic situation where government is trying so hard to deliver the message each and every day. From federal level to provincial level, they are trying to deliver the same message: wear the mask, physical distance, wash your hand. Only 3 message since 6 months. It's been taking so long to deliver it. So how can we expect within just a couple of times during school or listening to book that drinking water, exercise will help you? This is what we are supposed to be doing. We are made up of water. Most of our water.
That's our thing.
That message needs to be repeated back into the schools, college, universities, everywhere, that health is the most priority for you. If you take care of your body, the taxpayers' money will be saved. It will. There is a financial bigger
reason for the government to help put that message out there. Just a basic PSA. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's one of those, like, the current Western world obviously runs on capitalism, which compared to the alternatives like communism is the best thing, but there's still so many downsides. Like, messages aren't spread unless there's a financial incentive to spread it, which is awful, because it's like our main thing should be the welfare of the people, but it's a market. So in these cases, that's the unfortunate thing where we don't have the basic education for it, and it's not something being spread. But it's just one of those things that'll come with time, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we would hope for like 100 years from now, the future, where everybody's stretching and kinesiology is seen as like the best thing for everybody, or just basic stretching and that kind of stuff. But to bring things back to you and your work life, could you please describe what an average day would look like for you to someone who maybe has never been to physiotherapy and they don't know what it's like here?
So let me tell you about the patient journey. As soon as patient comes in contact with us, we bring them in, depending on the situation, bring it in or tele-rehab with pandemic. But as soon as they come in, we set them for assessment where we understand about their complaints, about their sufferings, or about their health goals that are not being put up. So we assess their motions, we assess their strength, do a little bit of specialized test. That takes around like 30 to 45 minutes. Then we come up on a treatment plan that this is the exercises, this is the tools that's going to help you. So, and we educate patient onto the first day that we need to work as a team. My role would be to help you, guide you, achieve some of the obstacles that you have at home. We leave them with some homework or exercise that they need to do it every day. That is the basic foundation of rehab, as every day we need to put up some time. And at the end of the session, when they leave, they have a full plan of care, where they're going, how many weeks they're expecting to exercise, and what are their main achievements that they will be looking at after the rehab, and that's their first experience in our clinic.
Nice. And I guess I can obviously attest to that, because that's how we know each other, right?
Yes.
I came in not because I just recently gotten an injury, but I had gotten an injury 6 or 7 years prior, and just I was a young kid, so I'm like, my body will fix itself. I just rolled my ankle like running downstairs, and then I hadn't realized that a general constant pain I had been experiencing, like anytime I would work out, I wasn't able to jump after like 10 jumps, and it's like, maybe this isn't normal because other people still can. And yeah, it wasn't a knee issue, it wasn't a back issue, it was my foot, and I was like, what's going on? So I come to see you, and it's one of those things where it's like you tested it, and I feel like for quite a while too. So it's like, probably because so many years had passed, it was difficult to find out where the actual specific injury was. So you just keep testing until you find it, and then that's why it takes professional hands. Like, I never would have been able to find it, right? I mean, like if it took you almost an hour, it would have taken me my entire lifetime. I just never would have, right? So you localize whatever the injury area is, and then, as you say, just give homework, which is what I got, and it worked. I mean, I can at least be a standing testament to that. Yeah.
You are such an easy patient.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, are there patients who like resist and are difficult, or?
Sometimes, yes, there is a barrier when it comes
Right.
to rehab, that I call them as a gap between the communication. That's where the professionals, healthcare professionals, whether it's physio, chiro, massage, doctors, surgeons,
Okay, yeah.
and the patient on one side, there's a huge gap between the communication message being delivered to the patient in a way that professional needs it. So if a patient and physios or healthcare professionals, they are not on one page for the goals, then there won't be a result. So my main thing I look at is I educate patient a lot till they get the idea that what we are trying to do over here, instead of just handing them, these are your exercises, go home and do it, figure it out. No. If I see them, they haven't done it, let's redo it. Let's do it together, right?
Yeah.
That way, like, I can do it, you can do it, right? Let's just give that little more feedback, right?
Yeah.
There's too many things on patients' list to do it.
Yeah.
They have a full busy day, they are working moms, working parents, they have 2 jobs, so there is too many things put it in their day. So last thing you want to put uncertainty in their schedule is like, okay, my physio gave me exercise or my professional gave me this, but I don't know how to use that. So
Without trying, they just give up
Yes.
before they start. Yeah.
so that happens a lot, and I've seen as soon as you click that communication channel between patient and professional, that's it. Results are really good.
Yeah. It's like following instructions is like the same as like if you have a prescription. It's like you take the pill. Just because you don't immediately see the results in one day doesn't mean it's not working. It's
Yes.
gonna take time, but like it's 100% going to work. Its effectiveness is guaranteed. Yeah.
True.
So it's just one of those things. Yeah. But nice, very good. Now, if it's okay with you, are you down to answer some more questions that I have down my list?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah. Let's dive into the depths of what I got here. So I won't ask you anything like what's your crazy work story, because I know you're a professional, so you're not going to go down that memory. But could I ask you something like, what was your earliest memory? That's a general question, not specifically designed for the work life you have. But
Right.
Can you recall anything like that? Like, sometimes people get confused with home videos versus an actual memory they have. But yeah, can you recall like the earliest possible memory?
Of working, being as a physiotherapist?
No, I'm
or
thinking, well, maybe yes to that, but then also just in life.
just in life.
That might be too hard, because it's like,
Yeah.
how far back can you go, like till you're 6 or 5? Or
I think I remember around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I would be around
Nice.
that time. Really, I was really active kid, and lot of energy, and
Yeah.
like I remember my childhood. I had no filters.
True.
So I
Okay.
used
Yeah.
to
Good. Yeah.
be like, whatever comes into the mind, speak it, do it, act it. So
Yeah.
I was being very, and then later on, I kind of like developed a lot of filters and being very careful about things around it. So
Yeah. You learn through
Yes.
your experiences. So yeah,
that put me in trouble when I was in kid.
Yeah. True. That's funny. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I feel like I must have also not had a filter, but I
Right.
specifically remember when I was youngest, like running around and stuff, and I have like a memory of like jumping from like rock to rock
Right.
in whatever terrain it would be, right? Like Northern Ontario kind of area, like it was probably some cottage country. And yeah, and it's super vague, but it's just a thing that I have in my head that like I know there's no home video of. It's just a
Right.
memory in my head. But yeah, so what about in your work experience? Like, what was your first case? Do you remember like anything like that?
first case, I do remember. Like, it was a very tough case. There was a really nice guy who got the stroke. He was in his late 70s, but he was very tall, 6'6".
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, muscle man. So he was quite, and especially after the stroke and first few weeks of rehab, you're trying to get their motions back, right? You have to perform some passive motions as well. So to deliver passive motion for that guy, such a being a short guy on my end, right? That was a tough job. Everybody think that okay, he's not gonna able to do it, but somehow I managed it with my techniques and expertise around it. So that was my first case, and he did recover very well. So that was really satisfying thing that okay, that was my first patient, and I can see him walking back.
Nice, very good. So and that does kind of segue into the next thing I have here. But if I can ask you, do you consider yourself optimistic, realistic, or pessimistic? What's your kind of worldview about things in general?
In general, I'm really optimistic person, right? Sometimes I've noticed myself being a little realistic, but most of the time I'm more than realistic towards optimistic. True. That gives me vision, and that gives me energy to do things.
True. I'm the same way, and I feel like it's literally just it's my motivator. Like if I wasn't optimistic, because I feel like I'm a complete 50-50 of realistic and optimistic. It's like I'm realistic in my limitations, but then when it comes to actually performing or doing something, like having an action, then I become optimistic, where it's like whatever the best case scenario is, that's the goal, and if I don't reach it, then I won't be upset. So it's like my expectations aren't set on the optimisticness, but it's what gets me up in the morning, I guess, right? Is like, even if it's unrealistic, I'm like, what if I wake up to today and I got $1 million or something, right? It's like something silly, but it works. I use it as just a I guess it's like a wake up call or something. Like it gets me going, and then after that I can be realistic. But nice. So then that would lead to a question of, do you consider yourself passive, assertive, or aggressive? What's your method?
I'll lean towards assertive, right?
Yeah,
I will lean definitely towards it, as I've seen with being optimistic, right? You have to be very confident on your decisions around it. So definitely very confident on whatever I take on, give 100% on it. So
nice. And it's gotten you this far. I mean,
yes.
I don't know how you consider yourself, but I'd say you're pretty successful.
There's a lot to do it. There's a lot to do it next 5 years that are my plan. But this is the first step.
Nice. Is it okay if I ask about that, or can you give some vague details?
Definitely. Like, this is my first project that I have created with my colleague, that we want a space where we can treat patients the way we want it, in a healthcare professional way, not in a way where we just need the numbers. So we need the patient to be treated the best possible way. We have it on our options, right? So that's our first step. We need to go further and reach out to at least Oakville community in next year and a half. That's our goal, and reach it out around the GTF in 5 years. So that's our goal. Nice. We need to achieve it in a health for the community as well as professional, right? We need to educate people. So that's coming down the line. I need to do a lot more webinars and workshop over the Zoom nowadays with the pandemic, but that's into the list that we need to educate community that, hey, if your back hurts, don't stop. Do a little bit of range of motion, do everything, right? Take a help of healthcare professional, right? Just ask them questions around it.
Nice. And then I guess to expand would include having more physiotherapists with you guys, right? So I can imagine that might be a little difficult, because you want to get the best people, but it's a weird mix of like, you want the best, but you also want good people, like happy individuals.
That's the hardest part, is working with the people. And whenever you're working with people, it's like a lot of personalities, a lot of different thoughts. To have everybody in the same vision, that's a big challenge. That everybody is thinking in one direction, that usually doesn't happen, but that's a hard task in front of us, that how do you build a team which is driven by same goal, which has the same energy and passion towards healing the people in a right way, and guiding them, educating it.
Yeah, nice. And so I gotta say, I didn't do a deep dive into your company. Are you okay with me naming it?
Yes.
Because I mean, it's almost like a promo, right? Yeah. So
yes.
That makes sense. So be active, physiotherapy and wellness in Oakville. I didn't do any Googling past that. I just looked at your website and was like, this is the one for me.
Right.
But there's no chain. This is just it.
This is just it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. This seemed like it was a company, like a big company with like 1,000 stores across North America. So it gives me that feel, at the very least. Yes, your marketing is really good, and how you present yourself. So
yes.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Is during the physio school, they don't teach you how you will connect with your future patients.
Right. Yeah.
And that we had to learn it over the time by experience working, that how people find us and how do we connect, put the message out there, hey, we are here if you need us.
Yeah.
That was the biggest learning of our career, that okay, we need to connect with the patient and they should know that where to find us. Yeah. So that's why we developed this brand, Be Active, and so far we are able to reach out to the people, but we need to do it a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even the fact that your website provides the option for people just to say, I'd like to set up a meeting, and then you call them. It's like, that's like I felt ashamed for doing that. Like I'm so shy, I can't even just call them. Like I'm having them call me. But you provide that offer, so it's like it doesn't matter who the person is. They can be like, super hoity-toity, or they can be like scared of the world, and you're like the easiest place to contact, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
And the basic heart of our clinic is therapists are doing most of the things. So most of the time you will get your therapist to be on the phone. So even if it's like question, they will pick up the phone and it's like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
So at the initial phone itself, they understand about your injury and they're already making the plans for you. This is the direction Mr. X is going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, your base model of how you want to present yourself and help people. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wish you nothing but luck in the next 5-year plan that you have for yourself, because obviously a vaccine is going to be around the corner. So I don't think we have to worry the next 5 years about the limitations that we currently have. But given the opportunity to use Zoom or just get more into that field, it can help expand farther than you can physically go. Like you can have branches that go out to like the East Coast or the West Coast, like somewhere that you might not ever go, like just in the middle of Alberta, who knows. But I guess we'll see as time goes on. Yeah, of course. So to finish off, I guess I'll ask you a few more questions here if you're okay with it. But
go ahead.
So this one's always a general question. It's always just good to ask to gauge people's general philosophy, because that's something I love, right? I'm a judgment-free guy. I just love hearing how people think about the world. But does everything happen for a reason, or is it all random? What's your philosophy?
That's a good question. I would go with both the option, as I have not got all the answers that has happened, random things in my life.
True.
So there are so many random things that has happened, but I'm not able to put them together. And it's like, why did that happen? So definitely there is random things going on, and that we don't have at least a reason, or our human brain is not able to pick up yet.
Whatever's going on.
Yeah,
so it's
we'll
4D
put it
chess,
on a random.
Yeah, by all means.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I guess just a self promo. I got some videos coming out soon by the end of the month that you may or may not find interesting. But there's this one song that I use in the background of one of the videos called "Order from Chaos," and it's very experimental sounding and stuff. But I always like that idea of order from chaos. It's like the human brain makes patterns out of things, and that's where the question comes from, right? Does everything happen for a reason, or is it all random? And the reason why everyone's answer is always different is because it's so easy to interpret things as being intentional, because we can see so many patterns in the world. It's insane, right? Like even just looking up at the stars, we can see the same pattern in like a dandelion, and like, it's crazy. Nature is the craziest thing in the world. I mean, whether it's cosmic evolution or physical biological evolution, it's happening all around us all the time. And
True.
All we can do is interpret it. That's what we're doing all the time. That's even what science is, what kinesiology is. It's interpreting the natural world and just trying to understand it. So that's what we're doing at every given time, right?
That's what we are doing.
Whenever we stop and think, that's what we're doing, is interpreting.
We just need to better learn it.
Just continue to do what we're doing as a human species, right? Recording and furthering our knowledge. Nice. So another question here for you. Okay, so you don't have to answer this one if you don't want, but before jumping into other ones, what's the scariest thing that's happened to you home alone? Have you ever had an occurrence like that before?
No, actually.
You hear a bump like upstairs or something, or spooky? Yeah.
That's always in the imagination, that when you're alone in a facility, or when you're out in the open or at the home, right? There is something that, is there something? So I always made sure that all the doors are locked, the windows are locked. Whenever, especially when I was a younger age, and especially at home alone, I would seal everything.
Oh, no
Just
kidding.
Check everything. If my parents are coming late night, then I will check everything. They will have the keys, so I'll still make sure that things are being seen.
Knowing they got the keys, you can lock everything and not worry about locking them out. Yeah,
true.
Nice. But yeah, very good. So another question here is, what do you consider beautiful? Once upon a time, that question was, what's your favorite form of art?
Right.
But art can, I think it just works more generally to say, what do you think is beautiful? Because it can be something as simple as nature, or a child's laughter or something. I don't know. It's something that wouldn't conventionally be like a painting or sculpture, right?
True.
Yeah.
Nature, I consider nature as the beautiful thing. That's the living art that we have it. And everything around is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. We just need to slow down, see more, feel more, breathe it. So that's my philosophy, is just everything around us, whether in Oakville, whether you're in Halton, whether you're in Brampton or up north or different part of the world, things are so beautiful. Nature is very, very beautiful. We just need to see more, feel it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. That's one of the things where it's strange how society has come to be what it is today, but it's now that we have it this way, we could maybe incorporate other philosophies that, didn't happen at the time, specifically the forming of Canada. It's the Native Americans who were here believed in an equilibrium with nature. True. And then the British and French who came believed in domination. And so it's, it didn't lead to the end of the world yet, but obviously global warming is an issue, and it's one of the most important things is the environment that we live in. So it is something that we should respect and pay more attention to.
True.
So yeah, I feel that. And now, let's say this is the final question. What hardship are you most grateful for having, but never wish to experience again? What's a learning experience that you had that is invaluable, that you learned so much from, but is you would never ask anyone else to experience?
As I mentioned earlier, during my physio school, I had the back pain journey, right? And that was really hardship, is regaining my sense of awareness about the body and the motion. And I was at the point where one decision could have ended up me on a surgical table to open up my back. I have a condition in which my lower spine, lumbar spine, is fused to sacrum. So I have one less moving spine in my spines, right? So that was two options. You can try with physio, but there is possibility it will not work, and go and open it up and defuse it, right? Or permanently fuse that, right? To make the pain away. And I decided to go on to the first path. It was very hard to get on it, but as I worked through it, it gets easier and easier, right? So it was not a very clear path. So that was the hardship about it. The path was not clear, not properly educated. So I don't want anybody to figure out that path by itself.
Right, yeah.
I want the help of all the professionals, right, to guide their patients, to steer them in the right direction and avoid that hardship of it.
Yeah, before it happens. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm a very privileged kid, and very privileged that
you were fortunate that nothing worse happened.
Nothing worse had happened except that part. So
well, it's better off that way, and hopefully, you can prevent other people who might have worse experiences before they happen. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I said that was the last question, but as we wrap it up here and say goodbye to the audience, there's an old tradition from my first season, I think, that I've tried to carry on, which is to say, as we leave the audience, what are some parting words of wisdom you might give them about living a day-to-day life?
thank you for giving me this opportunity so I can reach out to the people, right?
Yeah.
And tell them this message that I truly believe in this message that every day dedicate at least a 10 minutes to yourself for exercise, move your body, feel your body. Do the exercise, that makes a huge difference. You're investing 10 minutes a day, that's not a lot. If you're aiming for 1 hour, 2 hour, that's not gonna happen. Start with 10 minutes, stick with 10 minutes, right? And go forward with that. Just do a big favor to the society is invest in your health and look out for the nature.
Amazing. Yeah. An incredible way to end it. So thank you so much, and we'll close it off there. So
Hey,
see you guys.
thank you.